Merhaba, selamun aleyküm, hoş geldiniz, welcome. I think I can use some Turkish words because whenever I meet my local friends, they start speaking Turkish to me, and then when I ask, they say they watch Turkish dramas. So I think it's very popular. My name is Ersoy Erkazancı. I work for Bloomberg. I'm a TV presenter for Bloomberg HD. I've been living in UAE now 8 years, and my role is to tell Turkey what happens in the region. I cover Middle East and energy prices for Turkish audience. I see UAE as my second home. So as a family, we are very happy here. So I'm honored and privileged to be the moderator today. As you can see from my tie, I am very honored that Turkey is the guest of honor today. So you know the topic, Türkiye-GCC relations, outlook and prospects. I have two valuable guest experts. We will talk about economical, political and the cultural aspects which we can do more better in this country. So my guest, I would like to introduce Mr. Khalifa. Dr. Khalifa Al-Suadi is a research fellow at Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy, specializing in international relations. Prior to joining Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy, Dr. Al-Suadi was a researcher at the Supreme Council for National Security. Welcome, Dr. Al-Suadi. A good friend, Dr. Serhat Süha Çubukçuoğlu is a senior researcher at Trans Research and Advisory in Abu Dhabi, UAE. He is from Istanbul, Turkey. And Dr. Serhat is a geopolitical strategist working at the intersection of policy analysis, consultancy, and media. So, Mr. Tugay Tunçay, you set up the tone for us. Thank you, and we can start. As you see, Mr. Ambassador mentioned about a new era. Can you tell us the latest developments in Turkey-GCC political relationships? What are the milestones and how do you see the outlook?
Well, it's my pleasure to be here, first and foremost. I'd like to thank Trans for the kind invitation and for His Excellency's very eloquent keynote speech. As we've discussed 2 months prior to this event, when we hosted Your Excellency, there is a clear drive at the strategic level, of course guided by His Highness's vision, which underpins the UAE's foreign policy nowadays. One that I theorize rests on a value-oriented outlook, rooted in peace, by means of trade, and by means of diplomacy. Throughout these last 10 years, we've had our ups and downs in relations. That is not to be, that is a matter of public knowledge. However, in 2021, there was a turning point as far as our bilateral relations with Turkey are concerned, when His Highness, the National Security Advisor, Sheikh Tahmid bin Zayed, headed the UAE's delegation in an effort to extend a hand to an important ally. And I say important because the volume of trade between the UAE and Turkey is amongst the highest in terms of bilateral, of course, trade, as far as Turkey is concerned. And it forms the backbone of its, drive to extend its influence, or trade influence and cultural, to build on its already significant cultural foothold in the region. Of course, with the signing of SEPA, there needed to be something to precede that, which was to kind of de-escalate and to get the parties to sit down together and carve out a vision going forward. And that what led to the SEPA, which was, to me at least, is a byproduct of this kind of convergence on how to do business from here on in with regards to the evolving regional security architecture. So yeah, as the economic minister or trade minister Thani Ziyudi put it, he projected the bilateral trade to increase by a twofold in 2 years' time. I would say, I think, or over the next few years. So that is a lofty goal and quite the departure from what we've seen earlier, of course, in terms of bilateral relations between the countries.
Thank you, Dr. Khalifa. Serhat, how do you see this de-escalation of politics, and what are the underlying factors behind this regional reconciliation?
Thank you, Ersoy, and I'd like to also extend my thanks to our esteemed ambassador, Your Excellency, for your opening remarks, and our CEO, Dr. Mohammed Al Ali, for having set up the stage for us to discuss this in more detail. Let me make a couple of starting points. So I think we can look at this from two angles. One is the systemic level, like structural factors. What is driving the GCC and Turkey closer together? And the other level is, of course, the economic level. So on the geopolitical level, I would say GCC and Turkey are regional powers, and they are increasingly more autonomous to protect their interests in this emerging new world order. And this order is characterized by multi-centered world, increasingly evolving into multipolar world. That means there is more space for maneuverability, for activism on behalf of regional powers, such as the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. What this means is that the avenues for cooperation are greater and more profitable in comparison to pursuit of isolated national interests. They prioritize, countries in the GCC and Turkey, they prioritize economic pragmatism, diplomatic fence mending, and bridge building over geopolitical saber rattling. It also shows us that the notion of a nation state still prevails. Okay, the sanctity of borders, territorial integrity, and survivability in chaotic times is of utmost importance in this new world order. Let me touch upon a couple of things that made the headlines this year in the relationship especially between the UAE and Turkey. One is the UAE's participation into the Air Force exercise Anatolian Eagle in Konya Air Base in Turkey. It's a landmark moment. The second, that shows that our militaries are also in conversation and they are getting closer together in partnership. And the second thing is not to forget, of course, is the UAE's unforgettable humanitarian aid and relief efforts during in the aftermath of the two devastating earthquakes that we had. On the economic side, both the GCC and Turkey, they have their own advantages. The GCC has comparative advantages, which means that they are able to produce certain things cheaper or more cost effectively than others, such as in transport and logistics and oil and gas. The GCC also has tremendous resource endowments, and not only in oil and gas, but also possessing a solid legal framework, a world-class established infrastructure, and relative ease of doing business. It also has a young and tech-savvy population, talented and open to learning, and keen to make an impact on emerging fields such as artificial intelligence and robotics. Now, coming to Turkey, Turkey has advantages, competitive advantages, which means they can differentiate against others in the marketplace, such as in defense industry, hospitality, and construction. It had traditionally been a capital-scarce and labor-intensive country that faced declining terms of trade, especially after it entered the European Customs Union in 1995. But that situation gradually changed. So Turkey, with upskilling and investment into more capital-intensive sectors, repositioned itself as an alternative industrial hub for the Middle East. So let's look at manufactured goods, for instance, the defense industry or white goods. It became a technologically advanced and sophisticated society as a member of the G20. Let me leave it at that, and maybe we can come on a second round left.
Okay.
Thank you,
Serhat mentioned about a couple of possible areas that Turkey and UAE and Turkey and GCC can work. What do you think about these sectors? I mean, to give you some examples, DP World has invested in Turkey, MSNB has an investment in Turkey. They bought Denizbank. Now EDUK is investing in Turkey. So what can be the possible sectors that can be mutually benefit for both countries?
Well, I think I would defer to the better expertise of Dr. Sarat here, but I would say that for me, given my area of interest, is that the political will, which underpins the drive, the current drive that we're seeing in terms of injecting funds into the Turkish economy is important. And for me, dare I say, this will continue irrespective of the outcome of the elections, and of course the outcome of the U.S. presidential elections. Nowadays, we're seeing key regional players such as Turkey, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and so forth, taking the lead in terms of shaping their own trajectory. And that has a spillover effect in as far as we're, as analysts and as observers are concerned, when we're looking at multiple sectors, be it defense, be it politics, be it, economics and investments and so on. But what I can tell is that given the recent changes in the UAE's government, which were announced recently, and with the appointment of His Highness once again, the National Security Advisor, as head of the one of the largest sovereign wealth funds, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, there is going to be a clear emphasis on injecting funds and investing in the region. And this was hitherto kind of not so. I mean, it featured among the priorities before. Of the investment strategy of the UAE, but then again, nowadays is set to become far more prominent, at least in our thinking, and that is going to have a positive impact. Now, the UAE is, through the kind of of course, the trade minister called the economic diplomacy, or the UAE's economic diplomacy. There seems to be a clear-cut emphasis on spreading peace and containment, and obviously deterring the threat of any future conflict by means of trade and diplomacy. So using that to build upon pre-existing cultural bonds, which are already there, because of course with Turkey we continue to share some strong cultural and social bonds. We have a large number of Turkish residents here in the UAE. So this continues to be an area of interest for us, and one that features prominently in our future survival strategy. So because I say survival because this encompasses an important security element to it. Now, when we think of national security, we always the thinking is to kind of think of it in hard terms, but we know that the construct itself had come to evolve to encompass multiple layers, economic, political, environmental as well. And I think COP28 will drive those investments forward. And I think Turkey has many thriving sectors, as Dr. Sarat here said, and also apart from that, the manpower, the youth. We have changing the demographics in Turkey, and that continues to show. I mean, whether you look at polls, or we've witnessed that in the recent elections. So it's a fast changing environment on both sides, and that is set to kind of define or be key in terms of defining the future trajectory, not only of Turkey itself, but of the region.
Sarah, Dr. Khalifa mentioned about the talent and human resources, and we know that there are very successful Turkish managers living in the region. How do you see this cooperation, like talented people coming to the region and working for UAE companies?
Yeah, that's a very good point there, Soya, and I totally agree. And this is one of the points that was going to come next, that there's a clear synergy between the two regions in terms of knowledge, know-how transfer, managerial skills, people skills, soft power. UAE, since the time I was an undergraduate student, has been a popular destination for many Western expats. Like myself, I lived in the UK for many years before moving back to Istanbul, Turkey, which is where I'm from, and then coming to Dubai for the first time in 2011 to work for a multinational. and which was the start of a new life, a new journey, where I took on the bold decision to do a career change and move into international affairs and policy advisory by studying here at the American University in Dubai myself, so in the media city. So the UAE opens doors. There is no limit to your imagination. So it broadens our horizons. As an expat that's gone through this journey, I can wholeheartedly, testify to this country's potential and value for expats like myself. And it's growing. It's attracting even more talent. It's making it much easier for managerial skills, also for new graduates, for people who have the enthusiasm, the drive, the intellect, but not the resources in their home countries to come here and study and work. And it's very valuable. So I must just say a big thank you on behalf of also our CEO, Dr. Mohammed Al Ali, and pass it on to Halifa if you'd like to add something. Thank you.
You want to add something more?
Yes, a couple of points actually. In the context of de-escalation, the wave of de-escalation that's currently that we're undergoing regionally. I was having a sort of discussion, a sideline discussion with a colleague of mine, on the sideline of a recent event, and we both agreed that there is an overwhelming consensus with regards to the future of the region, in that key regional players need to take matters into their own hands as far as peace is concerned. And we've witnessed that recently, of course, with the Saudi-Iranian rapprochement. And of course, this, for me at least, maybe I may be a little bit biased, but I think bias is merited in that case, in that the UAE was one of the main instigators of this wave of de-escalation or peace, whatever the term you'd like to use. But it underpins, the vision that now there is an acceptance with regards to that there will be divergences on issues that pertain to national interest. But at the same time, there is a convergence, a great deal of convergence with regards to the stability of the region. So now there is a, what I would call, here at least in the context of the region, more of a Westphalian moment. Europe had its own Westphalian moment. Now we're having our own Westphalian moment, based upon our own idea of non-interference, rules-based order in the region, and so on and so forth. And that's going to be a key driver for more cooperation, security, economic, political, and so forth, as I touched upon earlier.
When you look forward, are there any geopolitical events we should follow or that can change the outlook of the region? Like relationship between, Syria, Iran, anything important? What can help to increase the relationship between Turkey and the GCC?
Aside from the areas that we've touched upon, I think the as you've just mentioned, the idea of threat deterrence as well. I think it's important now that with Iran, adopting more of a peaceful tone in the aftermath of its rapprochement with Saudi Arabia, that it would show a clear sign commitment to the terms that it signed up for. And I think that this is going to be it's the clear message now from the GCC at least is that the ball is in your court. And this is primarily meant towards Iran, Syria, and so forth. I think Turkey, there was underlying tension at some point, but as Erdogan recently commented, in that we've managed to transcend those differences. We've managed to move forward. So we're indebted to both. We're both. I think on both sides. I think we're both indebted to each other for having had the will and the courage to have to be able to transcend those differences that were there, may have cast their shadow over bilateral relations, but they didn't. You know, if you look at the numbers, if you look at the volume of bilateral trade, it was on the kind of it was going through a sort of like an upward, pattern. But then, if you look at after CEPA, there will be more. There is now a clear-cut emphasis on increasing that further and further and further.
By the way, how much time do we have? I don't know, but I want to jump into a couple of questions. I want to wrap up. I mean, we talk about politics, we talk about economy, but we are not cultural experts, but we are observers. So we are in the International Book Fair. You want to comment about like Turkish TV dramas or Turkish food or tourism? And I mean, can I ask you how many of you have you been to Turkey or have? Okay, most of the time. Have you tried Turkish food? Okay, so most of the people know Turkish dramas and Turkish. All of us. Okay. So I think it's a good way of like increasing the relationship. And do you want to comment about this cultural bonding?
Yeah, and it's been growing since I came to Dubai for first time in 2010. It was actually for a visit, for a business visit. Then I decided to stay on and move here in 2011. Yeah, and Turkish culinary culture, Emirati culture, Turkish culture, we have many commonalities from history, from religion, from our regional bonds. And when I hear, our colleagues, esteemed colleagues, travel to Turkey to places that even I haven't been myself, like Trabzon, for instance, that I'm positively surprised, that I encourage them to go and visit more and, meet more people there, because it's at the end of the day people-to-people connection that is the best builder of cultural bonds and positivity between countries. That's what I believe in. So it's people diplomacy. Culinary culture is one of them, but there are many other aspects of it, like you mentioned. So Turkish TV series or soap operas, as they call, which at some point when I turned on the TV and skipped through the channels, every one of them was showing some kind of TV series that I even haven't watched back home in Turkey. Over to you.
Okay, and we have spoken about politics, economics, and culture, and we see that there's a big potential between Turkey and GCC. If you want to have any question to our panelists, now we can ask, or Mr. Ambassador, do you want to comment about what you have here?
Let's ask the questions.
Okay, any questions from the guests? There's a comment from here, yes. No need to ask questions. We cannot hear, yes. I think you have to.
Yeah. Thank you for the amazing discussion. It's not only from the political and economical side. Actually, I'm from the scientific field, and we are doing a lot of research. And recently, we have received a lot of speakers and researchers at the Dubai Stem Cell Congress from Turkey, and we were very amazed about the level of innovation and research which they are actually doing. And it's really nice to find this kind of a new collaboration in the medical and the genomic field.
Thank you for the feedback. It's very true observation. In Turkey, innovation and science and technology is very advanced level. And I think UAE and Turkey can make very good cooperation on this side. Especially recently, startup ecosystem is growing and they need some funding. So please fund Turkish companies. Yes, I agree. Yes, Mr. Ambassador.
I just want to add a few points. I want to diversify a bit more the common interest, especially in the economic field. I mean, you added one area. We see a lot of interaction between on the scientific area. You have many researchers coming who working here at universities, doing research or working on new areas, like recently we had a delegation on technoparks, Yıldız University opened a branch, a representation in Dubai, and there are other universities, 2 more universities which I cannot mention right now, are also engaged in it. So that is an important area. The defense industry we need to highlight. The cooperation there is very important. I mean, and it is increasing tremendously. I mean, we have NATO standards, we have Western standards of technology in the defense industry, and we are ready to share this with, to a great extent, with the UAE. I mean, and UAE is interested. It's not only selling, it's also joint production, shifting the production lines also to the UAE. And that's an area where UAE can benefit a lot because the added value is very high. The other, I think maybe I missed it, it was slightly mentioned, it is the area of transport. You mentioned Dubai ports and it's also Abu Dhabi ports as well. They are investing in Turkey. There will be more announcement in the coming weeks on this area. I mean, it is not a bilateral interaction, a potential. It is a regional thing because while enhancing the transport corridors between UAE and Turkey, it is a transport corridor that links the Gulf with Turkey and Europe. Because once you are in the Turkish grid, you can reach by railroad until London. There is uninterrupted rail connection. And right now we have many, we already started the dialogue. And Iraq is very fundamental in this. I mean, Iraq, the transport corridor going through Iraq is very strategic. It's a strategic partnership in the transport area. And I would also like to highlight the, we talked about regional politics. I mean, there were bad times and we don't ignore it. On the leadership level, we openly said we had those times and we have we can learn our lessons from those times. I mean, how to overcome this. And I think we had done that at a very high level. But we also see a convergence of our interest, regional security interest. I mean, we see more and more common interest, convergence of common interest and as well as common interests. We see on many regional conflicts, we see eye to eye, and that's very important. I think that's the base of the new era. And economy, culture, transport, many other things are adding up at the top that just contributes, facilitate the current partnership. Just a few points to highlight.
Thank you very much. If there are no other comments, I want a big applause to our guests. I'm Dr. Khalifa, Dr. Serhat, and thank you for listening us. You are going to ask just 1 second, last question.
My question would be to Dr. Khalifa. I was wondering how is the UAE locating itself within the GCC and how its role can contribute to Turkey-GCC relations in a broader scale?
Thank you for the question, and I think it's a very timely one. There are metrics with which we can measure the extent to which the UAE can leverage its current status within the GCC to, propel its relations or the GCC's relations with Turkey forward. One area of which, of course, including the large presence of Turkish residents here. There's a large number of them across multiple sectors. You have senior researchers, news anchors, each contributing in their own ways to the diversified economy of the UAE. Using that to also kind of incorporate SEPA into the the thinking of the GCC on a collective level. As His Excellency noted, between states, even within organizations such as the GCC, and even in the EU, my area of interest, there is a long-standing difference between France and Germany, going back and forth. But then again, there's always a convergence on matters that pertain to the survival of the union itself. So think of it more as on a micro scale. When you think of the GCC and and Turkey. So, I mean, to incorporate SEPA into it, and then use that to, I mean, in a way, to sign a free trade agreement with Turkey, that would be a brilliant move going forward. I would say that's one. And secondly, you know, the building on the pre-existing cultural ties and all that, and embedding those further, would be another way with which we can, you know, further push for that.
Thank you very much. Mr. Ambassador, if you have time, can we have a photo together before we close? Thank you for listening us.